Hello and welcome to Garage Football. We're going to be talking about the FA Cup final that took place yesterday. So Bill, Chelsea won in the end?
Yeah, you were right in your predictions. They won 1-0. Thought it would be a low scoring game, and that's exactly what happened. It was despite there being a lack of goals, it was a decent final. Chelsea, I think in the end deserved it. I have to say they defended really well and looked a threat on the counter attack. Man United in the first half were abysmal. Let's put it that way. Another way of saying it.
Say what you mean next time.
Second half, they stepped it up and gave it a real go, but just lacked that cutting edge, to be honest. So, Chelsea deserved it. It looks like it's going to be Antonio Conte's last game, so a good way for him to bow out.
I've got to say, I was wrong. It wasn't a boring game, was it, really? Although there was lack of goals, like you say. But I think, the first half, Chelsea dominated.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes, I thought, Hazard could have scored that really good goal at the side, but good save as well.
Yeah, good shot and a good save, yeah.
And, then obviously there was that penalty. Jones took Hazard down. But I must admit, the rules have changed. They changed a couple of years ago, and I thought it was going to be a sending off. But you're aware of it, aren't you, of why?
Yeah, so they changed it 2 years ago. It's in the rules of football now, where if a penalty is given and the defender or the goalie's the last man, the referee can give a yellow card to the player instead of a red card if they believe they made a genuine attempt to tackle, to get the ball, and that's what Jones did try and tackle. But unfortunately, Hazard got in the way. It was very clever by Hazard. He was just waiting for the challenge, basically. And eventually Jones made it. I think Jones went with his wrong foot, though, Ryan. I think he went with his right foot. If he swung with his left foot, he might have had a better chance of getting the ball. But when Hazard's through and goal with his pace, Phil Jones ain't going to catch him.
No chance. I must admit, I did think Hazard was going to miss.
Yeah.
There wasn't much of a run up, and when you can just before he goes to take the shot, you think he's going to miss this, but he scored. So there we go.
You're right. With people like players who've got short run ups, you think, what's going to happen here? But Hazard always has a short run up, and his penalty taking record is very good. And he just waited for De Gea to make that slight movement, and he just tucked it away in the other side. So. Yeah, it was a good penalty, and he had a really good game as well, Hazard. Looked such a threat all game, he looked really on it.
Yeah, definitely. I think second half, United were coming back, were attacking. Could have scored. I mean, Sanchez had that offside goal as well, but did you think Man United were going to equalise and come back in the second half?
They certainly stepped it up. They had to in the second half. They were just absolutely woeful in the first half, offered no threat whatsoever. Thibaut Courtois on the three Chelsea centre-halves, look at that, their sunglasses on. Everything, it was so easy, everything was played in front of them. There was no threat in behind at all from any Man United attack, no runs in behind from Rashford or Lingard or Sanchez. And Rashford, who was playing up front, because Lukaku was on the bench, he kept coming short to get the ball, it was drifting out wide. So United just didn't have a presence in the first half, did they?
No.
Second half, it was different. They ran faster. Their passing was quicker and more incisive, and there was more intensity in their play. And then whilst they did have a few chances, Rashford had that chip that was well saved by Courtois, a couple of other chances. It was just waiting for something to happen, and it didn't look like they're going to score a load of goals. Just waiting for something to happen. And Chelsea defended incredibly well. You have to say as well.
Well, there we go. And then eventually Chelsea won the game. And I must say, I was happy for Conte in the end. I think we all know, we're 99.9% certain. I think the media's made it aware. It's pretty much a given that he's gone.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, but it does make you wonder, why should he go? He won the league a year ago, and now his second season he's won the FA Cup. We know what Chelsea are like, and we pretty much know what's going to happen, but do you think there's a small chance Chelsea could think, hang on a minute, he has actually won the FA Cup. He did win the league last year. Maybe even one more season?
I can't see it out there, Ryan. I've got to say, I think the writing's been on the wall for, certainly since January, I'd say, because the players haven't played for him and his demeanour on the touchline. While he was very animated yesterday, which is good to see, he hasn't been like that for a lot of the season. So I think even he knows that it's his last game. But, Chelsea have got rid of Ancelotti the season after he won the double, and a few months after Roberto Di Matteo won the Champions League and the FA Cup, they got rid of him. So this is no great surprise.
It's no surprise, and we know what's coming. But this is what's wrong about the modern era with certain clubs like Chelsea.
Yeah, and Watford as well.
Yeah, they need more time, especially when they've won things. I do agree, when you've got some managers that have been 5-10 years that haven't won anything. And
like Wenger.
Wenger,
he was there too long at Arsenal, wasn't he?
Why does that warrant he keeps his job after that time? You could argue, obviously, he had the history and blah, blah, blah. However, on the other side, managers need at least a season, 2 seasons to prove themselves. Yeah. And he's already proved himself. So, but that's another discussion. We don't need to worry about that. But at least if he is going to go, he's going on a high, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's his first major cup win as a manager as well, which is good to see.
He's finally got that out of his system.
Got that record. He's got rid of that. So yeah, that's good. That's good to see. And he looked really up for it. As I say, he was animated on the touchline, and his defence were rock solid. I mean, Azpilicueta, Cahill, Rudiger were all excellent. Rudiger was man of the match, and you can see why. And Gary Cahill, he's been in and out of the side really this season. But he looked back to his best. He was captain yesterday, and you can see why Gareth Southgate's called him up to the England squad for the World Cup. He looked very good. So I think he's played himself into contention to start the first game against Tunisia, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And then that also brings us to, we've talked about Conte.
Yeah.
Mourinho. I think he's got a bit of pressure now.
Yeah.
I think the problem is, though, I think he'll keep his job, but what's your thoughts on his situation and where he is now?
Well, I said in our preview that if Man United didn't win the cup, Jose would be a bit under more pressure than what he was, and I think that is the case now. You saw on Twitter that the fans weren't happy with the performance, especially the first half, where they were just absolutely shocking, absolutely terrible, to be honest. As I say, second half they stepped it up, but it just sums up the way they are at the moment. They're lacking real guile and finesse up front. And they've got strong, athletic players, but Michael Carrick's retired, Mkhitaryan's at Arsenal, Juan Mata was on the bench. They're just missing that final killer pass and incisive play, and even just getting crosses in the box. They don't cross the ball enough. No. And when they don't have Lukaku up front, they've got nothing. They've got no presence.
Too defensive-minded.
Jose said that afterwards. Speaking to the media, said that they had no presence up front. I mean, they didn't really, to be fair. But you have to say, Marcus Rashford, he played with no confidence really yesterday.
Well, like you say, it's not going to be easy if your manager's publicly slating you.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. If he's got issues with him as the manager, don't be too PC. Sit him down and say, sort it out. Or this is what you should do to improve. But don't publicly come out and say that.
Exactly. And the big players didn't really step. Sanchez, he was decent. Like he's played better than what he has done recently. But something's missing with him. Like he tried hard. He won the ball back. But just going forward, something's missing with him. Pogba again. You want him to offer more. He had that big chance 10 minutes before the final whistle, where he was at pretty much the whole penalty area to himself, and he headed the ball wide. That was that big chance that United were looking for, and he fluffed it basically. But again, it's another thing of this is Man United under Jose Mourinho. They're not the most attacking team, and when they lose games like this, you kind of think, well, it goes back to the style of play again.
Absolutely.
And so yeah.
But having said that, I do agree. I do agree that if you look at his style of play, he's got to adapt now. He's got to look at the attack, he's got to look at the force at the front and think, right, how are we going to make this more interesting and how are we going to actually score more goals?
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. But I also think, well, come on, that's like I said yesterday in the other video, that still put things in perspective.
Yeah.
If you look at Fergie when he left, okay, if you compare it to his era, this is not where Man United should be. And I get that, what the fans are saying, but they started from 7th, since he left, and they've gradually come up now to 2nd. And if you look at it like this, objectively, two ways. On one hand, yes, it's not a good season. They came 2nd, 19 points behind Man City, not really a threat to the challenge, and they've lost in the FA Cup final. So they've had a season with no trophy, a trophyless season at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you've got other clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea now that you could say are better. Liverpool in the Champions League final, Chelsea won silverware against them. But at the same time, they are 2nd. They've runners up. They've beaten 18 other clubs at the end of the day. And then if you look at FA Cup, they were runners up there. So coming from what they were when Fergie left to now, he's certainly, improved them. And he won, great trophies last year. So I personally think the fans need to get behind him next season and just see what what he's going to bring to the table. Don't get me wrong, if next season, they're still not exciting and they're not coming, they're not really challenging for the title and they've got a trophyless season, then I could understand there's alarm bells with Jose Mourinho. But we know his history, we know he's a quality manager, we know United are a good club, and I think the fans just need to be patient and get behind him.
Yeah, I get what you mean about finishing 2nd, but I disagree really, because it wasn't really a title challenge. They're 19 points behind City, and the way they play, they don't look like they're going to challenge next season even, unless they buy more players. But they've spent enough money as it is. They've bought Pogba, Lukaku, some big money on Sanchez, but they're not playing as a team. It's very Jose-like, so he's not going to change his style. So I think it's just got to get used to it, Man United fans, I'm afraid. It's just going to be the same again. And are City going to drop off? Possibly, but enough to get equal to Man United? I don't see it for next season. I mean, it's like when Arsenal finished 2nd to Leicester when they won the league. Like, they finished 10 points behind, but does it really count as 2nd place? No, I don't think so. So I think people are making too much of, they finished runners-up. I disagree. I think Liverpool have had a better season. They finished 4th. And they're in the Champions League final and got a good chance of winning it. So
it goes back to what we were saying yesterday. What would you look back on? I remember that year when we finished 2nd, or I remember that year that we won the Champions League or won the FA Cup. People remember silverware, or if you didn't win the league, you was only a few points behind. Yeah. Or you sort of lost out the last month, but. Yeah, I do agree that United need to step it up, but I think if we put it in perspective, just of where they've been to where they are now, I can see progression. But if we're still talking about it, which you could be right, next year it's the same old United, then they've got to look at it. But I think at the moment the fans just need to be a bit patient, get behind him, and be grateful that how he's improved the team. But I do get how it is also a bit boring football at the moment, and there is that lack of leadership in a way, but we will see. But on the whole, I would say it was a good final yesterday. I was proved wrong in terms of it wasn't completely boring. I'm glad Chelsea won. I did say it would either be 1-0 or 2-1.
And you were right.
And I was right.
Hats off to you.
But yeah, so full marks. That's hope Conte keeps his job, but we know it's not going to happen, and let's see what happens with Mourinho. But fantastic. So thanks again for watching this video. Please, you know what to do. Please subscribe, share it, and hit the like button.
See you next time. Thank you.
All right.